I want to talk about the mind changing every 6 months and why this is so, and why do couples usually break up in 6 months. And this is pretty much due because every 6 months we have a lunar and solar eclipse. And every time we get a lunar and solar eclipse, those effects last depending upon what kind of an eclipse it was. If it was a partial eclipse, it might last the energy for like 3 months. If it was a full eclipse, it might last 6 months to even a year. So you have to really look at what kind of an eclipse it is. But on a general note, the mind of a person changes every 6 months. Whatever you wanted today, in 6 months you might not even remember it, unless it's like a long-term goal of that extends to like 10 years or 5 years. But usually short-term goals are usually very hard to focus on for some reason, unless you're very diligent with it. But people usually break up 6 months later after they meet. And that is usually because they're not aware that the other person is another person and that you two are another person. So it's like two people that are completely different, interacting with each other, and that's going to clash, and they don't realize this. So what they do is they decide to go on a vacation. And then after the vacation, they break up and they're like, oh man, everything was going so well. No, you thought it was going well, but it was going real bad because you did not acknowledge that both of you had different goals now, different mind frames. And you didn't sit down and you didn't face it and you didn't talk and say, look, this is where I'm at and this is where you're at, and how could we exchange these, how can we put this together? How can we work this out? You didn't do that. Instead, you escaped. You went on a vacation, you pretended everything was going well, and then boom, it just somebody cheats on somebody, or somebody starts acting up, not showing up, acting weird, and problems start arising. And I see this all the time. And there's nothing wrong with that. You just have to realize that if you don't change, it's because you're dead. Life is predicated upon changing, all right? It's not, you can't stand up, you can't stay a certain way. Nothing is perfect, all right? The minute that life is really spending time perfecting yourself. The minute that you're perfect, you die because you already did what you were supposed to do. Now, in astrology, lunar eclipses, they symbolize endings, right? And solar eclipses, they symbolize beginnings. Now, it doesn't have to mean that you're going to begin something, you're going to start something, but something might come into your life, all right? Now, it's like a new chapter, pretty much. So that's why it's always wise to look into your chart and see where specifically is the beginning or the ending going to take place in those 6 months. So I hope this video wraps up about eclipses and the mentality changing every 6 months. Namaste.